Do you suffer from the bore of generic lore? Are you tired of predictable NPCs?
Skip, skip, skip. I'm so relieved
Skip.
that I have an
Skip.
important. Actually, it's quite imperative that
Skip.
it's a pretty crucial thing.
Skip.
Imagine a time when instead of skipping over unwanted filler content, you looked forward to having a realistic conversation with an innocent child, the town mayor, or a mysterious barkeep. One of the most prevalent trends in the video game industry is creating immersive, realistic worlds where a player can lose themselves in the game. One way that engineers work to achieve this is by utilizing generative artificial intelligence in their development process. Today, we will talk about three of the main types of AI implementation, along with the pros and cons of its use. We will start by discussing advanced level NPCs that are driven by player interaction.
The gaming industry and the technology behind it, such as graphics rendering, modeling, animation, and motion capture, has continually breathed life into both the games and the hearts of gamers everywhere. However, one of the most important technologies that can increase immersion and engagement within the game has been left lifeless for well over a decade. Until recently, the technology between NPC interactions has relied heavily on the specificity and number of paths the writers and developers were willing to create. Depending on how in-depth they were willing to map it out, it often could leave the gamer feeling like every interaction with an NPC is like a one-sided transaction. Thanks to the advancement of generative AI, we can now look towards a future where generative AI can increase the productivity of both writers and developers, and can also make the interaction between gamers and NPCs more immersive. Productively speaking, generative AI was tailor-made for the writers of games, as the ability of LLMs suited towards storytelling, like Ghostwriter AI, enables the writers to write a wide range of original dialogue for the player to engage in with the NPCs. When considering how successful games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which has been highlighted for its level of immersion, took nearly 8 years to build. Not considering the other aspects of game development, there were over 1,000 NPCs within the game, each requiring writing, voice acting, and character development. One could see that the utilization of generative AI models like this could boost productivity and decrease the amount of manpower and time needed to develop such worlds. Immersively, there are also companies outside of the standard generative AI modeling, such as LaFront, who have begun specializing in the behaviors and mannerisms of NPCs since currently most look stiff and unnatural. Their technology takes in speech as an input as well as predefined styling of its NPC and generates body gestures that suit in accordance to what's being said as an output. By using this technology, it allows the model to flow more naturally with the conversation, which ultimately makes the interaction more engaging and immersive for the gamer. With that being said, generative AI has the potential to surge life into NPCs and increase engagement between developers, writers, and gamers. But that's not all generative AI has to offer, as there are plenty of applications for it in procedural level generation.
That's right. Now that we have discussed how to build AI-driven NPCs, we need to look at how we can build a world for them to inhabit. Imagine a world that builds itself and is tailor-made to cater to the player's preferences. Enter AI and procedural level generation. Open world games are not new to the industry. Titles such as Grand Theft Auto and Skyrim have already established the possibility for players to explore a game following their own path. These open world games give players a sense of freedom, but AI seeks to take this freedom to the next level. AI can be used to create new worlds that are filled with infinite possibilities, landscapes, and people. They can build the backstories for the world and create totally new interactions for the player to experience. It can use the data gathered about the player to form unique storylines and quests that are specific to that user and no one else. As one CNN article states, AI and procedural level generation would be like having a personalized dungeon master. The closest game in existence to achieving what could be possible is a game called No Man's Sky. Released in 2016, this game is virtually endless. It uses procedurally generated content to create customized worlds with unique flora and fauna. While this method of procedural generation seems close to AI, the big difference is that No Man's Sky uses a predefined algorithm that is based on the data provided by the game programmer. A truly AI-generated level will not follow any algorithm provided by the game developer and instead learn from and respond to the player's interactions. The use of AI in developing realistic interactions between NPCs and procedural world generation greatly enhances the player's experience. But now, we will look at how game developers have harnessed the power of AI to assist them in creating game assets.
Developers are often tasked to create large amounts of objects to create a sandbox for players to see and interact with. This alone takes a hefty amount of time because there are many requirements to complete one. First, you start with the concept by making multiple sketches of the asset, which may not even be approved, requiring you to repeat the process again. Then, you gotta create the 3D model while keeping it within a certain polygon count to avoid performance issues while the game is running in real time. Then, create the textures, shaders, and additional detail to give the model some color, a sense of depth, and react to light. And of course, finally, create a rig and animate the model. Depending on the complexity, this can take either a few hours or a few weeks to complete, just for a single asset. When considering the increasing standards of visual graphics and how many different trees, rocks, buildings, and characters are even included in the game, you can start to imagine why games take so long to be developed. But with the use of generative AI, it won't have to take so long. All one would have to do is type in a simple prompt describing what the model is, and AI will generate one for you in a few minutes. This is getting increasingly more possible for the future, not only for 3D models, but everything else that was listed. Recently, we have already seen the use of AI art generators like DALL-E created by OpenAI, where the general public are already capable of training AI to make concept sketches and reference images. Additionally, some companies like Blizzard, the ones responsible for making games like Diablo, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, they're already experimenting with their own internal AI to create character renderings and to prevent data leaks. However, due to AI's infancy, those working on the project will still have to fix some errors that are likely to occur, such as like unrealistic representations of people's hands. But with the workload reduced, game developers can now focus their attention on other aspects of the production process, such as the story, game design, the programming, and other tasks required. However, with every new piece of technology, we should consider its pros and cons.
The advantages of utilizing generative artificial intelligence are numerous. From NPC dialogue to level creation and asset building, artificial intelligence has expanded the ways in which we view gaming and has provided opportunities for building a more adaptable and creative experience for the user. The rapid development of AI has created new technology in gaming that has allowed players to experience unique content and a more personalized storyline. This in itself has reduced repetition in gameplay and increased replayability for the user. From a technical standpoint, the use of generative AI in gaming has allowed developers to accelerate game production through the automation of repetitive tasks and streamlining workflow. Making small changes to the AI algorithm has let developers create a stockpile of assets and game components that can be utilized for iterative design and game testing. Despite the many advantages of using generative AI, there are still several issues that may arise as a result of its integration. An example of a potential problem includes voice acting. Typically, when voicing NPC interactions, a voice actor is used and provides a scripted set of phrases. With generative AI, that same voice can be manipulated into providing an unlimited amount of dialogue. This can create problems as this dialogue may include unauthorized or even offensive phrases developed without the actor's consent. Additionally, the use of language models in developing dialogue has also created issues surrounding lack of creativity and instances of possible plagiarism. Beyond the ethical and legal implications of using generative AI, technical issues may also arise from its use. Datasets being used to train the AI models may create NPC text or dialogue that is game-breaking or ruin the immersive experience. Entire worlds created by AI may become unplayable or deviate completely from the game's intended narrative. Asset generation may also become repetitive, predictable, and lack the creativity that comes with individualized development. Despite the pros and cons of utilizing generative AI in gameplay, this technology is set to become more widely used within the gaming industry.
While there are sure to be some growing pains when it comes to ethical consequences, one thing is for sure. Whether it's being used to build a fully immersive environment or to increase developer efficiency, we are sure to see generative artificial intelligence reshaping the video game industry in new and exciting ways.